Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. In the past couple of years, Skyrim got some amazing combat mods. Whether you want to completely change your combat experience or just enhance the vanilla combat a bit, you can find appropriate mods without much effort. And if you are following this channel, you could see a bunch of Skyrim combat mod videos. However, one thing that combat in Skyrim always lacked is the sense of impact. The visual feedback you get from hitting something is one of the most important things for creating a decent action combat, and a couple of mods I'm going to show you today will improve this effect drastically. They are script free and very lightweight, so you can drop them in basically any mod list you wish. The first mod I'm going to talk about is called the ZX Slice hitStop. The purpose of this mod is exactly what I described in the beginning. It enhances the visual feedback you get when you attack the target. But how exactly does it work? Well, it's called hitStop for a reason, because upon impact, your attacks will slow down and almost completely stop for a very brief period of time. A couple of 100 milliseconds to be exact. If you played some Capcom games like Monster Hunter or Dragon's Dogma, this combat effect will be very familiar to you. Those games have the same mechanic and it works really well. The author of this mod was actually inspired by those games and he tried to replicate that mechanic in Skyrim. You probably heard about a similar mod called TK hitStop or even used it before. TK hitStop was a very popular mod and it had the same idea, but it wasn't really good, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, the author of that mod is a legend and he deserves a lot of praise for his work. TK hitStop had a lot of issues. The whole game would basically stop for a second when you hit something. It basically created a micro stutter effect, which was annoying to say the least. Well, ZX Slice will not make the game less fluent, and it doesn't have any delays because it's script free. Here's a comparison between the vanilla game and this hitStop mod with the default values.
That it? That your best? That it? That your best?
The effect is stronger for power attacks, as you might notice. This is how the mod works with default values, but after a lot of testing, I decided to increase those values because I think they are too low. And especially because I wanted this mechanic to work almost identical to Dragon's Dogma hitStop effect, not just similar. As you can hopefully see from this example, the hitStop in Dragon's Dogma is a lot more noticeable than default values from ZX Slice mods. After I tweaked the ini file, this is the result. It's still not exactly identical, but I think it's a lot better. The default value for normal attacks is 140 milliseconds and for power attack is 195 milliseconds. My values are the following: 250 milliseconds for power attacks and 200 for normal attacks. I'm pretty satisfied with the results, but you can try and find the best settings for yourself. The hitStop effect works in first person as well, if you're wondering. Now, don't mistake the hitStop effect with the stagger mechanic in the game, that's completely different. The hitStop has nothing to do with that, so it won't mess up any of your mods which are tweaking the stagger mechanic. This is one of those mods that you'll get used to very fast, and you probably won't even notice it's there after a while. But if you decide to remove it, you'll definitely notice the difference. Like I said, it's not a huge mod by any means, but I think it's well worth it. What makes it even better is the next mod we're going to talk about, called Flinching. This is actually a really simple animation mod. It allows the player and NPCs to flinch when they're hit by melee weapons and some spells. To quote the mod author, flinching doesn't override the state the actor is in, it plays over the top of normal animations. You could notice this effect already in the footage, but if you didn't, here's an example.
You'll pay for that!
It really goes well with the hitStop effect, and it has the same philosophy behind it, improving the visual hit back from weapon attacks. Although do take in mind that Flinching uses Nemesis and it's not compatible with NIS. That's probably the only reason why you might reconsider installing this mod, but other than that, you should definitely pick this up as well. And the last but not least, you should pick up the mod called Retimed Hit Frames. But why is this important and what it actually does? Did you ever get the feeling that enemy attacks were hitting you sooner than the animation would suggest? That's because they do. This is something that bothered me ever since the game was released way back in 2011, and the introduction of time blocking mods soon after made it even more obvious that something wasn't right. This mod aims to fix that. And the mod author was right, you do get hit a lot sooner than you should. Just take a look at this GIF and everything will be clear to you. Anyway, after combining those 3 mods we talked about, the results are quite noticeable. It's been a long time since I removed the TK hitStop mod from the mod list. I remember that one of my bigger Skyrim combat mod videos received a ton of comments about the quote-unquote annoying stutter effect in my game, not knowing that TK hitStop causes this. And even though it didn't work properly, I kinda felt bad when I removed it. Luckily, we finally got a similar mod that works without any issues. If you're passionate about Skyrim combat mods, you should definitely try this out. And if for some reason you don't like them, you can remove them without any repercussions. So it's a win-win situation, I guess. By the way, if you're wondering, I'm working on a bigger Skyrim combat mod list video because it's been a while since I uploaded the last one. And if it's not obvious already, the mods I featured in this video will be included in that list as well. Stick around if you want to see that, and you can check out my previous Skyrim videos until then, or some other content on the channel. I hope this was useful, and as always, I will leave all the links for the mods in the description. If you enjoyed this video, pressing the thumbs up button is really helpful. Don't forget to subscribe for more RPG content. If you want to support the channel in the long run, consider becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You can get your name on the end credits, as well as some other perks like early access to videos, Discord roles, my plans for future content, etc, etc. That would be all, and I'll see you in the next one.